Sitting here, waiting on a storm, waiting to see if it'll rain. 'Cause it was supposed to, and it rained a little. Next hour rain chance, 32%. That's not bad. Chance of rain is 60% for tonight. It says 32% next hour. But then... So it says... That's weird. It says 60% chance of rain tonight. But then it says that there's only a 38% in the next hour. That doesn't make any sense. So I guess like the very edge of a storm system is passing near me. Cool. For some reason, I just, like, I guess I just live in a chunk of Mississippi that's just not going to get much rain this year. I don't know. Hey, thank you, King Bugs, for the $20 right off the bop. Right off the top of things. Nice to see that. I got storms coming in tomorrow. Hi, Phoebe. Hello, King Bugs. Hello, Wardens. Yeah, a lot of the U.S. is getting rain right now. Tons of parts of the eastern U.S. have gotten rain. And we got a little bit earlier. A little. But it wasn't much. And I would just like there to come... Ooh, how I wish it would rain. That's how I feel. I just wish it would come a decent rain. Come a rain. It's one of those weird, backwards, hillbilly verbiages that I still have not completely excised from my vocabulary. It's one of the vestiges from me having like lived in the South my whole life. It's kind of like whenever I tell someone to close a door, I don't tell them, hey, would you close that door over there? I'm like, would you pull that door too? You know? To where? And it's at its worst whenever I'm hanging out with people that aren't Southerners, but there's like an emergency situation or like a situation where you gotta say things quick, where I get flustered or something, and I'm like, just pull it too. When really in that situation, the more universal thing to say in front of other English speakers would be, close that door real quick, or close that door, or something like that. But I just say, pull it too, like in a panicked Southern accent. What's your pronounce? My name is pronounced Phoebe. Phoebe. Like the girl from Friends. When you hang out with guys, do they ever try to make a move? Almost every time. Pretty much without fail, yeah. I mean, I'm bisexual, so it's cool. I mean, I'm not even gonna lie. Maybe it's led to something here and there. But, like, yeah, it's a pretty common thing. You are a heretic? No, I'm not. A heretic is somebody who believes something that is against the orthodoxy of a given religion, but still believes in other parts of that religion. So, heretic is just the word that is used by a religious in-group to refer to people who do egregious violations of philosophy from within that in-group. That's all heretic means. And I'm not a part of any religious in-groups, so I, by definition, cannot be a heretic. We're good? We're good. Can you explain what that star symbol against the wall? It's a spirit board. It's got different letters and numbers and words on it. The idea is that you would use it in a space with good vibes, or that you've sanctified in some way, and you use it either by yourself or with other people by dangling a pendulum over the center of the star and asking it questions. And, if you're a believer in that particular ritual practice, then the idea is that basically by this combination of ritual and intention, you are able to make the pendulum, or you're able to read the universe's intentions, or conduct a seance by using the pendulum and the spirit board as like a medium of contact. Now, I'm not a believer in spiritualism, so I don't use the spirit board for anything. I'll pull it out to show people, but I don't, like, to me it holds no specific value because I consider myself a bit of a chaos witch, but I've never found that particular ritual practice to be useful for me, so I don't see any reason to continuously engage in it or anything. If it's not going to yield me results, maybe I'll try it out again in the future at some point, but yeah, that's all it means. Level of confidence you have is a level I aspire to achieve. And really, the crazy thing is that, like, I was not always this way. So keep that in mind, I had to learn to be like this. And it involved hanging out with a lot of different types of people and a lot of different sorts of environments. And, maybe there are certain things that happened in my life that aren't going to happen to other people, and they're going to have to find some kind of substitute for that. So I don't know that it's a great one-to-one kind of thing, but the point is, you can learn this too. It's nothing special that I'm doing here. It's a combination of looking at the camera and being able to speak with a reasonably complex lexicon while speaking relatively quickly. I want to hear more music from you? Maybe. Maybe. Once we get a few minutes in, once we get like a decent little bit of time in, I'm going to talk about like the membership thing. That's normally when we play music. But we'll wait till, like, we've been going for 10 minutes or so before we talk about that. Do you play guitar? I do. This generation is screwed? I don't think so. I think Gen Z and Gen Alpha are going to pull out of it pretty good. Most of us are aware of the fundamental problems that face civilization and our societies in particular. So I think that we are possibly going to set a new precedent for meaningful progressive activism in the modern age. I really believe that. And I think that's been building for a while. 2020 showed that, if nothing else. Don't pretend you don't see my question. You are part of a chat that has got 384 people and growing in it. Yeah, I didn't see your chat, buddy. You're not the main character of this stream. I'm sorry, but, like, you're not. And you're not a mod, and you're not a member. So, like, yeah, your comment's not going to stand out that much. Like, I will read it if I happen to see it, but don't accuse me of, like, dodging it because you're one of a million people that's trying to talk to me right now. If you really want to get your question read or answered, send it in a super chat or include it as the note in a Cash App donation, which you can find down below. And speaking of supporting this audience-funded, fan-funded channel, if you are interested in doing that, please consider signing up for a membership or gifting some to your fellow subscribers, because in, like, I don't know, 20, 25 minutes or so, we are going to switch to a members-only live chat mode where you will still be able to watch if you're not a member, but you will have to be a member to participate in the chat, and that'll be happening, like I said, 20, 25 minutes. We might even play some music after that if we get to 20 sign-ups or gifted memberships by the time we switch it over. If we get to 20 gifted or independent sign-up memberships, either way, then we'll do some music when we switch over to members-only mode. Do you brush your teeth in members only mode? I brush my teeth every night. Are you just one of these people that's like conditioned by like Hollywood and the independent creator market to expect like white chiclet teeth with every human being you look at? Because like every other person that smokes nicotine products or consumes sweet tea or black coffee regularly, I have teeth yellowing. Yes. Yeah. And it doesn't affect the strength or like structure of my teeth whatsoever. It just makes them look a little yellow. But they're all there. Unbroken and crookedy as they may be. They're all there. No cavities. None missing. I've even got teeth that most people my age wouldn't have. I've got my wisdom teeth. And they function. One of them is a little impacted. Okay, one of them is a little impacted, and it gives me trouble sometimes. But it's not like a major impaction. It's not causing infection or anything. So it's like, whatever. Also, I don't know how many mods were in here for the other day when I said this, but, like, I mean, I guess it's fine if it's very occasional or if there's something more interesting to be done with it, but, like, if you guys don't mind, try and ban any, like, if somebody's just literally just trolling with the teeth thing, like, just ban them, because, like, it's one thing to make a funny joke about it or to try and be clever, and it's another thing to just, like, latch on to some other idiot's trolling. So, just, like, so we keep track of that, and so we try to nip it in the bud as best we can, just ban that shit out of chat if you don't mind, if any of you mods are sitting around. It should make the chat easier to read. I just turned it to subscribers only mode, so hopefully that will help us all out. In the meantime, Trump and Hamas have both announced that there is apparently a disarmament deal that has been struck between the United States government and the fighting force in Palestine known as Hamas. And I would love to say that this signals an end to the genocide in Gaza. I would love to say that this signals an end to Israeli aggression against their own people, ostensibly, against people within the area that they control, right? Like, that should just be a part of their country, should just be like citizens or citizens of a fucking state with mutual representation or whatever, right? Like, no. Instead, they're being oppressed and genocided. I would love to say that this is an end to that. However, Israel has already said the famous last words before any deal made that involves the Israelis breaks down, which is, there are still many steps yet before we achieve full disarmament. What does that look like? Well, that looks like a blank check for American taxpayers to fulfill, and uncertain circumstances by which conflict can be instantly resumed. That's what that looks like. That's what that means. Translating here for you. Yeah, that's Hebrew for more bombs. That's Hebrew for genocide and more bombs. You can use it either way. It just depends on how you pronounce, a certain vowel. The Holy Land is corrupted by evil? I mean, yeah, pretty much, yes. Whether you're talking about the evil of the Israeli government or the evil of the constant religiously inspired genocides, wars, pogroms, etc. that have gone down in that place for the last 3,000 years, that have gone down in a lot of places. It's not like the Middle East is particularly... but I guess the reason why the Middle East seems particularly bad about it is because, unlike a lot of areas that have gone through extensive, long-term, modern, religiously themed wars, the Middle East has been armed and, we've been, engaging in pretty constant colonialism and imperialism in this region for 200 years now. So when they... whether it's the Israelis or, whether it's the Israelis or whether you're going back at the time of Muhammad and his many conquests, the religious inspiration of the conflicts that happen here are very often kind of aided and abetted by Western powers. It's probably less true of Muhammad and his conquest than anything modern, but even if you want to look at some of the dictators who have ruled in the Middle East within the last 150 years, like even within the last 50 years, and some of them, there has been a long chain of religiously inspired violent events that have transpired in this region. And in my opinion, the reason, like, why that continues to be an issue is because humanity continues to be toddler-esque in regards to how we deal with the concept of death and how we regard the establishment of an ideology on the basis of faith. Did we do a big lag? Define genocide. Without looking it up, it is the purposeful targeting of a specific group with denials of their civil liberties for the express purpose of eliminating that group or greatly reducing their size. That is what genocide is. Jesus didn't die for this. Well, luckily for both of us, I don't think Jesus died at all, because I don't know if he ever lived, see? I think Jesus might have been a series of Middle Eastern Jewish prophets who probably came and went throughout that time. He just happened to be the one who founded a cult that happened to be politically useful for the Western Roman Empire to later take up. I believe it was Thomas Hobbes who once said that the Catholic Church is merely the ghost of the Roman Empire sitting crowned upon its grave. Now, Hobbes, living at the time he did, was unable to extend this criticism to all other Christian religions, but it is naturally a criticism that deserves to be extended to all other Christian religions because Catholics were the first. It is from Catholicism that all of the Protestant denominations come from. That's why they're called Protestant. The root of the word is protest. What were they protesting? The religious doctrines of the Catholic Church. Why were they protesting them? Because they had other ideas about Christianity. Why did they have other ideas about Christianity? Because it became a lot easier to print, manufacture, and distribute books. Hence why learning is so important. Hence why reading is so important. Hence why education, even shitty education, is so important. Hobbes also thought that humans were evil without the tyranny of a higher power. Well, I just criticized how he limited his criticisms of religion, even at the time, to Catholicism, right? And some other religions, but like Islam and shit. But he didn't obviously criticize the religious movement of which he was a part, because that wouldn't have flown well. I don't normally drink soda, so whenever I do, I belch a ton. But yeah, Hobbes is not like a formative philosopher for me. I just like to reference his quote about the Catholic Church because I think it might be one of the most apt criticisms, but I just extend it to all Christianity, unlike Hobbes, who was too weak-willed to do so. Christians, Muslims, pagans, Jews, pagans, Jews. Christians, Muslims, pagans, Jews, pagans, Jews, Christians, Muslims, pagans, Muslims, Jews, Christians, Muslims, pagans, Jews, pagans, Jews. Oh my God, never forget. Hashtag we were there, manatee. We were there. Anyway, if you guys want to support the channel, consider signing up for a membership, because here in about 10 to 15 minutes, you're not going to be able to chat in this stream if you're not a member. And I want you to be able to chat. You guys are smart. Some of you. Some of you guys are legit smart. Legit. There's quite a few dumbasses. My channel tends to attract some dumbasses. That's okay. But you know what? I got faith in a few of you. God damn it. That's why there are wrenches in here. That's why there are some people that donate and sign up for memberships in here. Because I know that a few of you have a brain rattling around up there in that skull. And if you're part of that crowd, consider signing up for the membership. It's very cheap, and any level authorizes you to participate in the live chat when it goes members only. Why do I need to pay my hard-earned money to just speak? Because there's a million other streamers doing this exact same thing and allowing you to spam whatever garbage in their chat you want to for absolutely free. And if you want to do that, you are perfectly fine to go to any of those other streams. Not only that, but you're perfectly fine to continue watching. And if you're really desperate to continue speaking, even though you're technically not able to, and you're not a member in the live chat during a members-only live chat stream, you could leave a comment on one of my long-form videos. You could even send a DM. YouTube lets you do that now, apparently. Look, am I supposed to believe what you're saying when you don't even know who you are yourself? Your words are the fabrication of a sick mind. I do know who I am. I'm Phoebe. I'm a trans girl who's lived most of her life in the Deep South and the Midwest. I traveled in a minivan with nothing but my voice and my guitar to power me through for like 2 years, 3 years, something like that. I've lived a pretty interesting life. I'm pretty confident in my femininity and the personality that I have generally. And I really despise this mind-reading shit that people try to do in the chat. Like, you don't know your brain. You don't know your mind. I, a random internet stranger, know your mind. It's like, who the fuck are you, professor? Why do people sub and then continue to bitch? Just want to argue, or like a bot targeting? It's literally, it's the desire to want to argue. It is the unquenchable thirst for constant argumentation. That's what it is. There are some people out there who do not know how to channel that into healthy expressions of it, and there are some of us who do. I like to think that my doing these streams is a healthy expression of my desire to argue with people, because I'm arguing for a better world. I'm arguing for people to get health care, for trans people to get representation, for black people to have their civil rights assured widely, and for the, awful practices like redlining to end. I'm advocating for the end of foreign wars that do nothing but worsen our image across the planet and make us even weaker in the long run, and that are, needless and immoral, like, on the face of them. These would be improvements to the world. There is not a single person who can argue in good faith that they would not be. There are many people who have been conned into believing they wouldn't be, but they would not be arguing in good faith because they would not be arguing from an informed standpoint. That doesn't mean I won't argue with them, but understand that the way I express myself and the way I direct my argumentative attitude and the spirit of passion that I have in me is distinctly different from how a random internet chat troll does what they think they're doing when they engage in political topics in these formats. Black people don't have rights in America? That's awful. I mean, like, technically, black people have, like, rights in America, but if you look at who's imprisoned, like, black people are imprisoned more than any other, like, racial makeup of person in America. And it's not because black people actually do more crime, because black people are actually acquitted more often than any other racial group as well. It's that black people are profiled heavily. And this, like, implicit violation of their civil rights is codified not in legislation, but in police training, which is why it flies under the radar, and it's one of the mechanisms by which conservatives are able to deny it as an issue. And they'll be like, well, you can't point to any court precedent or law. Never mind the fact that the Supreme Court just said that you actually can justify pulling somebody over at an immigration stop based on the accent or the color of their skin. But leaving that aside, for a long time, really, they would be able to make this argument like, oh, well, it's not legally codified, so whatever. A few crooked cops are doing something. That doesn't mean everybody's doing something. It's not a problem because I can't see it. Because in order to believe that it's happening, I have to believe this preponderance of evidence that I would believe in any situation in which it benefited my narrative, but I'm not going to believe when it comes to the nature of police brutality in America and who it tends to be directed towards. Do you think Middle Eastern conflicts are influenced Islamically or by colonialism and U.S. invasion? I think it's a mix of both, but I think it's more U.S. colonialism and invasion, frankly. Because there have been periods of time within the last 200 years that a number of Islamic societies have started to modernize, and some of them got quite far before the influence of U.S. imperialism caused them to go the other way. Iran is a perfect example. Iran was on track to secularization all the way back in the 1950s. Everybody will talk about how Iran looked in the lead up to the Iranian Revolution in 1979. People will talk about Iran in the 70s and how modern it looked then, but they won't tell you that Iran in the 50s looked like most other developed nations in the 50s. And that Iran in the 50s was a heavily democratic nation. That it took a coup, a joint coup by the CIA and the British MI6 to take down that democratically elected Prime Minister, Mohammad Mossadegh, and install the Shah of Iran, who had for, like decades at that point, been reduced to a basically ceremonial role, not unlike that of a British monarch or something, restored the Shah to power, and the Shah continued the kind of like, wave of secularization, but the Shah made a couple critical mistakes. Number one, he allowed the British MI6 and the CIA to train like his army and his guards and secret police. He allowed the governments of the West to influence how he was going to run that country, thus creating a secret police because they told him it would be a good idea to do so. They basically used the Shah as a Western puppet to control that country right up until 1979, when the other critical mistake that the Shah made finally bit him in the ass. The big, most critical mistake the Shah made was distancing himself from the clergy. The clergy can withstand living through the period of secularization. What they cannot stand is being actively attacked. And that's one of the reasons when I say we should appropriate church properties, I say that it should be done on like a community, state kind of level, where you've got like churches that are receding in population anyway. There's only like 7 parishioners left, and then eventually they all die, and the church is just like lost in endless probate because nobody really knows who it goes to because it doesn't belong to a broader congregation, because there are literally millions of different Christian congregations out there. And denominations and shit. They're like independent congregations that basically make up a denomination of their fucking own. So like what happens when you... But that's why I approach the subject like that, is because I don't ever want to jeopardize any kind of positive progressive movement by actively combating the clergy on a state level. I think that that is a quick way to basically get happening to you what happened to the Shah and his family in 1979. Because of the way they went about secularization, not because they went about it, but because of the way they went about it, because of specific decisions that the Shah made, they were able to basically muster a critical mass of the people and perform this coup. And that was only possible. The Iranian Revolution was only possible because of clear and obvious Western elicited corruption that was abundant and clear and present throughout the entire governmental structure, and the distance between the government and the working class and the clergy that they looked up to and looked to for their moral guidance. Like, that is why the Iranian Revolution happened. If the United States hadn't deposed Mohammad Mossadegh in 1952, there's a good chance Iran would be a functional democracy today. There's a good chance it wouldn't be going to war with anybody. And they almost certainly would not be refining uranium. For everybody that acts like that's the biggest concern in the world, just know that the only reason why that's a concern at all is because the United States and Great Britain stuck their dirty little fingers all over the Persian people. Why does anyone care about what is happening in Iran? Why wouldn't people be concerned with our own country? Me being concerned about what's going on in Iran is me being concerned about what's going on in my country. Okay? Because my tax dollars and your tax dollars and everybody else in this chat's tax dollars besides are going to fund that. And there's a constant excuse provided here in America for why no social program is possible, or for why we can't advance as a society functionally, why we can't rebuild any of our infrastructure, and it's because, oh, we need that money for military spending. We can't afford to have a universal healthcare system because that would take away too much from our military budget. And unnecessary expenditure and bloodlust and bloodshed in the Mid East for no reason other than to satisfy the cruel, bloodthirsty ambitions of Israel and the bourgeoisie, the owner class, the billionaires. Have you ever considered that all of that in Iran is a theater? Well, if it's a theater show, then the widespread coverage from all kinds of different angles, from all kinds of different people, and all sorts of different journalistic institutions and shit like that, indicates that it's the most complex fucking theater show ever conducted, and it's clearly costing a ton of taxpayer dollars to put it on. So either it's a theater show and we need to fucking cut it out because it's stupid and unnecessary and just distractionary, or it's an active war that's killing people, like a bunch of little school kids in a fucking school somewhere in the first opening week of the conflict, for example. And we need to cut it out because that's awful and depraved and also unnecessary. They'll tell me I owe at some point, but I'm not going to pay. Then you'll go to prison. Pay your taxes, bastard. You people are the real leeches on society. You think this is an anti-tax channel just because I'm an anarchist? Where in anarchist theory does it say one shall not extract taxes for the maintenance of a better society? Prison will be fine? Cool. You know you get worked like a slave in prison, right? You know prison is like the one exclusion to the anti-slavery causes of the Constitution. You realize that, right? I was a correctional officer for about half a year. I'm telling you from direct experience, prisoners are worked like dogs in America. As a former slaver, I'm happy to tell you it's a depraved system that you should try and do your best to stay out of. And we should also go about reforms to make it not a depraved system. But that goes without saying. When I was learning about World War II and stuff, I was honestly really surprised at all the similarities between Nazi leaders and Trump. I don't even know why I was surprised this shit will be a main lesson in future history books. Oh, yeah. Well, that's why so many people point it out. And, like, the fact that so many people are pointing it out is often used by conservatives to act like there's just some united narrative on the left. But it's not. Like, that's pretty much the one thing that everybody on the left and liberals alike is, like, united on. Is, yeah, we all hate Trump. But that's not much of a uniting factor. Half of fucking all Republicans hate Trump, for fuck's sake. Because there's tons of Republicans that ain't even answering the polls these days because they're just so disgusted with how things have gone. Tons of Republicans answering the poll calls and doing the polls, but now they're answering as independents. But they're still functionally Republicans, you know? It is getting remarkably close, by the way, to, it is getting remarkably close to members only time. So, just letting you guys know, here in just a minute, we are going to be switching over to members only live chat mode. And if you want to continue chatting, you will be able to if you just sign up for a membership or have one gifted to you, maybe, you know. If anybody wants to spread around some gifted membies. I saw King Bug spread around 5 earlier, and I don't know if I ever thanked him for those, but I do appreciate it, King. What are your thoughts on Middle Eastern countries not giving LGBTQ people rights? Do you support them in their way with the United States or Israel? Are you against them? I don't believe in this false dichotomy of you oppose a people or you stand with them. I stand with their human rights to not be bombed and killed, and I also stand with the queer people of those places to not be killed in their own countries by oppressive regimes. I just don't think the answer to an oppressive regime is bloodshed, endless tax-funded war for no reason other than the eventual hope to increase the profits of billionaires, which is what we've been engaging in. Like, there has been no component of this which has been a genuine and honest attempt to liberate these places. People talk about Venezuela. We didn't fucking... We did nothing there. We didn't end fucking... oh, what is his fucking name? Why is it fucking slipping me now? We didn't end Maduro's regime. We literally just passed it to his to his Veep. That's all we did. We passed it to the vice president. That's it. We didn't get rid of Maduro. So, like, his people are still suffering in whatever degree they were suffering before, right? Because it's their vice president of the existing regime that took over. And the only thing we've said positive about Venezuela in the interim has been, we're getting much better deals. They're selling us lots of great quality oil, which is not true, by the way. Venezuelan crude is some of the most difficult to process oil on the planet. Hence why there's still so much of it. You know, but they're, you know, Trump's not going to mention that. Fuck, why would he? Anyway, point is, where was I at? So what do I think is the solution there? I think that, pretty much in every solution, in every case, the solution is to normalize a relationship with these countries, begin like a dependency with them, and then after we've got them conditioned to the teat for 10 years, we start, you know, imposing dictates on them, moral dictates. We're like, okay, well, we've helped you, like Iran. Take Iran, for example. Did you know Iran's been struggling with a water crisis for the last 10 years? Iran farms a lot more than it should because oil profits alone are not enough to keep its economy going. And then they've got a bunch of land, too, that they feel like they can use for farming. I disagree with them, but that's been a problem for a while. Now, in theory, Iran's water problems could be fixed. Could be fixed with a combination of higher produce imports into the country through some kind of aid program or some kind of investment thing. I don't know exactly how it would be codified into law, okay? I'm not a fucking politician, not a lawyer. But imagine if we helped Iran rebuild their water infrastructure and rebuild their infrastructure that has been damaged by this war. And after we've done that, and we've shown them that we are good faith operators for like 5-10 years, I think we could do it in 5. Maybe it would take 10. And we've done that for a while. We've invested enough into their country. They are going to see how useful it is to have a positive relationship with the U.S., how wonderful it is to have a positive relationship with us. Now, that's assuming that we follow through on our deals, that we manage to keep good administrations in office and everything else. But assuming we do all that, then at some point we get to the point where we've got the upper hand. We've got our fingers into that country in a way that is not corrupt or evil, but in a way that is going to make them very loath to bite that hand. And at that point, we start saying shit like, okay, like you can't do this shit with, like you can't force women to, like, dress in a full body covering anymore. You can't give gay people the option of transitioning or being executed. Like, I just think that we would liberalize these nations a lot faster by normalizing a trade relationship with them and a relationship of mutual aid to whatever degree that can exist than we ever will by bombing them. Like, bombs don't change minds, and to the degree they do, they harden people's hearts to whoever's dropping the bombs. There's nothing about a bomb that is compassionate. There's nothing about a missile that says I love you. There's nothing about a fucking drone that says I want to help you. Jesus is not the answer for a goddamn thing. If Jesus had accurate answers, then half the people involved in the IP conflict wouldn't be committed Christians that are looking forward to making the fucking rapture happen. Why must we help people that don't even want to help themselves? Because human beings are worthy of love and compassion, even when they make bad decisions, and even when they are misled by systems that they oftentimes don't even understand themselves. If you were in their position, you would want that helping hand. And that's why I advocate for so many universal programs. Because I know that there'll be some white supremacists helped out there in the mix, and some conservatards and Republicans, But whatever. A rising tide raises all ships, and we'll all be better off for it. Matter of fact, I want them to do better. I want them to do better. You know why? Because economic insecurity and economic instability is one of those things that tends to drive up the occurrence of hate-inspired violence, of wars, and like temporary conflicts, right? Panicky fluctuations in the market. I mean, there's all sorts of negative effects that come from economic instability. So, like, just on that alone, just if we're talking economic issues, like getting healthcare, like off of a premium model and towards a single payer model here in the United States, that alone would be such a transformational thing in so many people's lives, because more Americans now are going to the doctor than ever before. Like, this is not something people talk about. Like, but more Americans go to the doctor these days than you would realize. With all this fucking anti-doctor, anti-medicine rhetoric, all these jerk-offs you hear complaining about the COVID vaccine online, they're still going to the doctor to get all their other prescriptions. They're still going to the doctor whenever an ache happens or a little hip bone hurts or whatever, and that's fine. They deserve medical care too, but I'm just saying, it is not a genuinely held belief. It's something that, it's vibes for them, and those vibes would change once they saw somebody with better ideas implementing them to the tune of the improvement of their lives. In other words, there was a reason Franklin Delano Roosevelt was elected 4 times. Maybe you should look into it. No, terrible jokes, AI. You're just doing the no true Scotsman fallacy. You're saying that anybody who's done things that you find reprehensible or that you find don't represent the faith well are not part of your group. And I'm sorry, that's just not how it works. Like, I, as a leftist, have to accept the existence of somebody like, I don't know, Noam Chomsky, who was like an Epstein affiliate. Or, fuck, let me think of some other bad lefties. Who's that guy? Oh, Foucault. Foucault, had a few good ideas here and there, ton of bad ideas, ton of really gross ideas, right? I don't necessarily have to ally with Foucault merely because we would both describe ourselves as being on the left. I don't have to ally myself with, any old dumbass leftist out there merely because. But that doesn't mean that they aren't that, right? Like, I don't have to consider myself, like, necessarily tied to their position in the movement or whatever, but that doesn't mean that they don't exist in the movement. I can't deny their existence as if they're, like, not on the record, and I can't act like, okay, I guess maybe in some instances you can make an argument that is no true Scotsman-esque, but maybe true. Like, if somebody, for example, like, if you said, oh, those aren't real Christians, and you were saying that about, like, let's just say that there was this group of atheist Christians who were like, yeah, we don't believe in a God, but we really think that going to church on Sundays is cool, and, talking about Jesus is neat and all this, right? I could imagine some, secular Christian anarchist sect forming at some point in the next 20 years with that exact ethos. Like, you can't, like, I don't know. Like, I think maybe at that point you could say, well, they're not real Christians. Like, I feel like maybe a different enough thing to be worth a discussion at the very least. But when you're just talking about other denominations who believe like 75% of the same thing, or like 60% of the same thing, or 90% of the same thing, then it is not useful to like try and distinguish between all of these groups and spend a ton of time pointing out all their individual little differences. Because, yeah, tons of people have all kinds of different differences. Yeah, I get that not every Christian is alike. We talk about that sometimes. But it's less important when we're talking about how many people right now are justifying the continued presence of American military might in the Middle East under the guise of religion and faith. They're justifying our continued presence there under the auspices of bringing about the rapture, the end of the world, according to their religious dogma. Now, I don't think that they're going to achieve this because I don't think it's an achievable goal, but it's certainly horrifying to think about, no? Members only mode. Forgot to turn it on. I knew something was wrong. I used to read a lot of Noam Chomsky. He turned out to be a real disappointment. Well, once again, Noam Chomsky had a lot of good things to say about a lot of topics that I think he probably was versed on. And I think there's other things that he said that now we have to call into question because of the associations he held. And then, there might have been things that are now conspicuously unsaid. Because, there's two ways to lie. Lie by omission and lie by altering the facts, right? I mean, Jesus may have said, love your enemies, but Jesus also said, um, do not mistake why I'm here. I come not to bring peace, but a sword, or something to that effect. Quick announcement. I don't know how many people are watching right now, but just quick announcement before I forget. I am going to be going to the Deep Fat Fried meetup in Seattle at the Fun House on December 4th, I believe, of this year. Kenny Fox, what is their name on YouTube? I can't remember their using. No, I forgot it again. It starts with a C, but I can't remember what it is. Conrocha. Yeah, Conrocha. You guys have seen me interact with them on stream. They're probably asleep right now, but they bought me a VIP ticket like as soon as the tickets went on sale. I didn't even realize, but it was so cool. They had to tell me about it. But when I realized, I freaked out because that was one of the biggest expenses with trying to plan that trip. Now the big expense comes in saving up for like transportation, lodging, food, and cannabis. Transportation, lodging, food, cannabis. Maybe I'll get... AIs are really good at crunching numbers, and I know some people criticize me for my use of AI. I noticed, Daniel doesn't participate in here anymore, and I kind of wonder if that's because they kind of, decided, oh, she's not reliable because she uses AI sometimes. Maybe they're in here and I just don't see them. I don't know. But I get self-conscious about that sometimes. Anyway, because I don't rely on it that heavily. I don't. I do most of my own independent research. It's just like for number crunching shit, or if I want to compile a list of sources or get a quick breakdown of something live, it's a useful resource. And becoming more useful by the day. But anyway, one thing AI is good at, and pretty much everybody agrees that AI is good at, is crunching numbers and sourcing averages from around the web. So maybe I should get my AI to help me out on like a projected budget. How far is the drive, Phoebe? Not gonna lie, you made it in an airplane for this one. Well, I'm gonna hit up Glitch Dash regardless and see if that, like, I'm gonna ask Glitch if they still want to do the road trip idea. Because if they do, Glitch has told me that he's cool with me driving his car. And if he's still cool with that, then we could make that drive. We would just have to sleep in shifts. I would probably stay awake for the first 4 hours of the drive, then sleep for the next 4 hours. Then I'd wake up, we'd switch out. I'd drive for the next 8 to 12 hours. Then we'd switch out. I'd stay awake for maybe an hour or two more, depending on how tired I was, and then go to sleep. And then, I'd drive the last leg, and then Glitch would drive the rest of the way. We just switch off like that, taking 8 to 10 hour increments, depending on how long we want to go. Because Glitch can go for fucking ever. He's like me in that respect. Me and him are both the same way, in which, like, if we're driving, we can just go and go and go and go. Damn, Phoebe, you should make a documentary for this. If it happens like a road trip, I will. I will. If it happens like a road trip, I will. I'll figure out a way. I'll have multiple phones on me this time and much better microphones, so that'll help. Driving there, then the big ending is partying at the meetup. Oh my god, yes, that would be perfect. Like, you both should film it. Yeah, no, we definitely will. Probably. I can probably get Glitch to film it. I gotta get back in touch with him and make sure that's still a thing. I haven't heard from him in like 6 months. I assume the shit is still good and that he's still fine, but you know, when you don't hear from a motherfucker, it makes you worry. Just a small town girl living in a lonely world. She took a midnight train going anywhere. Just a small town boy, born and raised in South Detroit. He took the midnight train going anywhere. I'd have to look up the lyrics to play the rest of the song. But I wanted to see if I could sing it better than Scotty. So, you know. I just wanted to see. I can see why Journey used that chord progression. It's very, very pleasing on the ears. Get her to the meetup! Or get her to the show. A DFF documentary starring Phoebe Ophi and Glitch Dash? Yeah, dude, for real. Maybe. I don't know. Like, what if... Like, I think that there could be two different cuts of it. One that focuses more on the meetup. Because I don't know. I guess I'll ask TJ. I'll see if they've got any plans to have like a film crew with this one. And if they don't, then maybe even if they do, I don't know. But, you know, I'll see if it'll be fine for me to do some filming and shit. And I'm sure it will be. And I'm sure that nobody in the DFF crowd's going to give a shit. So I probably don't even need to ask. But I will. I will ask and make sure it's fine. But I imagine there could be two cuts, right? And one is like the DFF cut that focuses heavily on like the outtakes and the best excerpts from the road trip and like the big landmark moments, and then heavily focuses on the party and if there's any after party or anything like that, right? It's just like heavily DFF focused. And then there's another cut that could maybe just be like, you know what? I'm going to say it, and maybe it's because I'm a little tipsy. I too often constrain myself with intention. Like, I am making... Oh, thank God the rain is here. Mwah, thank you. Oh, thank you, Mother Earth. Thank God the rain is here. I don't believe in God, but God is a good enough stand-in for Mother Earth. And I definitely do believe in the weather cycle. Anyway. I guess it would make just as much sense to say thank you, weather cycle. But the fucking point is, I've constrained myself far too often with intention. Like, I am doing this thing and it will be this. And sometimes that works for me, and sometimes I feel like it makes things harder for me to make sense of. So I think there could be one that's DFF focused specifically, because I'm obviously going to have a lot of footage for that. And then one that's more like, what does it look like in 2026 for two Americans to take a road trip? For two working class Americans to take a road trip. Like, maybe it's just like a little glimpse into the highway towns of America and the kind of like barely hanging on by a thread, frayed kind of social environment that exists in this country that would lead someone to do something like this. Not that it's a bad thing, but think about what a commentary on our society it is when people are so desperate and deprived of meaningful connection and regular engagement with like-minded people that they're willing to cross the country, the ocean sometimes, in order to have that for 4 hours, 6 hours. I think it's a real testament to the power of the human spirit, but I also think it's a testament to how fucking lonely our society is. Because I think if our society wasn't as lonely, number one, I think DFF meetups would have a lot more people showing up to them. But number two, I think that they would consist more of people from closer to the areas where they happen. I think it's kind of a symptom of how lonely our world is and how disconnected from local environments. And I don't even blame people. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just commenting, right? People are so disconnected from their local environments and from regular socialization with people of like mind in so many cases that they are willing to do extreme things to get a good dose of that. You should do a road guide to Seattle. Yeah, I mean, it'd definitely be possible since I would, be traveling America's highways and stopping at a bunch of the different gas stations and stuff. Oh, you and me were thinking of two different things. I was thinking of a documentary-style movie. Well, that's what I'm thinking of, too. I don't know what you... Like, I don't know where there's a disconnect at. Seems like there's a disconnect, but I don't think there should be. I'm talking about a documentary, too. I'm saying that I could make two different documentaries with the same trip and a lot of the same footage. Like, a lot of footage would be shared between the two docs, probably. But one of them would focus a lot more heavily on, like, the aspect of DFF's involvement specifically. And another could focus more on the road trip. And maybe could have some, like, philosophical narrativization over the top of it. Kind of like a Michael Moore documentary would. Where I'm kind of explaining, this is an American interstate. This is what it looks like, folks, when you finally get past the cities and the outer suburbs and the exurbs, and you get on the interstate. This is what you're faced with. Endless miles of paved road, 4 or more lanes of constant, ongoing, transcontinental traffic. Shit like that. You two are friends having a good time. There's fights and makeups and drugs and some wild shit happens, but in the end you both make it tattered, but you're jumping in a crowd of people at the meetup. Roll credits. I think that is actually pretty close to what my vision is for my, longer cut, or not longer cut. I don't even know if it would be a longer cut. Maybe it would be a longer cut. But that's kind of what I'm envisioning. I just think it would also be kind of cool to focus on the DFF side of it too, and maybe do like a shorter one, or one that's more focused on meetup footage and shit that happens afterwards and stuff. But yeah, I think like here's the thing. I want to make something with intentionality. I just don't want to say in some quick little avaricious phrase what exactly that intentionality is going to be. I don't want to try and neatly encapsulate it with a 2 or 3 word phrase. Like, now I've got to live up to this title I've conceived of, or now I've got to live up to this genre that I've thought of to talk about what I'm making. I just want to make it, and I've got a vague impression of what some of the themes will be. Make sense? I just see it in my mind and it's glorious. Well, we share that. We see the vision. We both see the vision. I can do my own music for it too. Because I got a synthesizer now, and I've got this acoustic guitar, and I've got a decent set of mics, so I could, in theory, just do all the music myself too. Just come up with some short little interlude tracks. Gotta storyboard that shit. Bring backup batteries and some sort of storage laptop. Maybe it's a whole process. Maybe you should, could. Yeah, that's what I would definitely do. Is after I get done shooting a piece of footage, I would upload it unlisted to YouTube, and because the way YouTube has it now, like you can re-download your own videos quite easily from YouTube. There's like through the app natively on mobile and PC. It's very simple now. So now that they've got that figured out, that would actually be a really convenient way for me to be able to use it across multiple different devices and like iterations and versions of the platform, whether I'm on PC or mobile, still have access to it. Yes, that's almost certainly what I would do. It's just a way more efficient way to do it than anything else I would conceive of. I don't really want to like add a $2,000 expenditure to my already costly trip, and I wouldn't want to cheap out on a laptop. I want to get something like I just feel like it's a waste of money to spend like a bunch of money on a big expenditure and not like if you're gonna spend like $800 or let's say you're gonna spend $400 on like a little notebook or a Chromebook or some little shit fucking laptop, right? Well, you could just spend twice that but get a PC that's exponentially more powerful, or like a laptop or whatever. So I don't know exactly what the prices would be like these days. I just know that I wouldn't want to cheap out on it. and that if I tried to do it in the midst of also planning for a meetup, I would almost certainly cheap out on it. Besides that, leave it to me to lose a laptop in fucking Seattle, okay? But I will do my best to preserve the footage and get as much of it as I can. So, Matt, are you going to go to the meetup? It's West Coast, so you can't say it's too far away. It's not that far away. Are you coming to the meetup? Honestly, I was thinking of a MacBook because they're for editing and all that. Yeah, maybe. Maybe I could find a used one or something. You would 100% get it stolen or something. Some crackhead would break into your car. Yeah, or glitches. I'd have to have it. Like, it'd have to be a thing that only sits in the car when we're in there or one of us is in there. And it'd have to be a thing that instantly goes into the fucking hotel room. And I would only be able to use it in the hotel room. So it's just like, fuck it, man. The best thing to do would just be to upload it to YouTube as I go. And then when I get home is when the editing process starts. No, I can't do it. If it was closer to Northern California, it's like 12 hours. What do you mean you can't do 12 hours? Take the train. It's a train. Y'all got trains out there. Can't do it 12 hours. I'm about to drive like fucking 34 hours to go do this shit. But Matt's ass can't fucking mount himself up on a train. Fake fan. I think Matt's a fake fan. I wish we had that high-speed rail. Yeah, I wish you guys did too. But you don't. No, I mean, I understand. If you can't make it, it's fine. It's just like, damn, bro. Damn, that sucks. Damn. Because I think it would be fun to hang out with you, Matt. I do. I think it'd be neat. Of course, then again, you don't really do any of the things that are done at a meetup. Like, you don't drink, smoke, or, you know, really engage in, like, hallucinogens or whatever. Not that that's going around at the meetup all the time. I'm just saying it's a thing that might happen at a place like that. It's just like you're not much into the drug scene or the drinking scene or anything like that. So it is admittedly kind of hard for me to put my finger on exactly what you might be interested in up there. It's crazy that you were thinking about driving it. Oh yeah, I ain't worried about that. I've done drives worse than that. Well, I've done drives that are just as bad. Maybe I haven't done drives worse than that. But I've done... Look this up, Matt. I want you to just look this up. Look up Festus, Missouri to North Adams, Massachusetts on Google Maps. Just go look it up. And don't avoid tolls or anything, because that'll send you through the same route that I took. Just see how long that trip is, because I think it's 24 hours, might be longer. And I did that exact drive. Actually, it was a little longer. Add 30 minutes to that drive and about 30 miles. And I did that drive basically all through, straight through one time. Literally, straight fucking through. Maybe I would have a panic attack for you and smoke a J just for you, though. You gotta protect me like a little scared bird trying to fly and fly and fall. I've gotta like hug you and be like, no, Matt, it's okay. Listen, everybody here's a friend. Listen, do you gotta pee? Do you gotta need water or anything? Are you good? Cause listen, you're here. You're with us. Everything is good. There's nobody, like, it's a weed legal walking around smoking weed. Not a cop in the city. I've done that before for people, and I'm good at that. I'm very good at that role. I would actually love to be somebody's introduction to a DFF meetup. That's one of the reasons why when the tickets go on sale, I don't know if I've got enough of an audience over here for anybody to buy a ticket out to that shit, but I am going to push their tickets and tell you guys, like, I'm going to remind the audience, like, if you guys want to hang out with me, if there's anybody out there that wants to make a plan for this shit, if you happen to be out in the area, please consider going to this. Ignar better be going. Is Ignar streaming right now? Let me ask his ass. He is. Ignar. Live from my stream.
Then, yeah.
Are you going to
Phoebe, no,
the
I'm fucked up.
DFF meetup?
It's because I'm like my neck hurts. I'm fucked. I'm murked. I went to a
Hope
concert.
your
My
neck
fucking
gets better.
Reds. Going to DFF meetup. What do you take me for? I mean, unironically, hold up. The DFF meetup in Seattle, what the hell? Of course.
Say wallahi. Say wallahi right now.
Rush thing, but I also need to think about that too, because that's also like, I think in the similar time frame. So I'm like, oh man, I might actually have to like.
I think Ignar is having an existential crisis, guys. I told him to say wallahi. If he's serious, he'll say wallahi. Let me see here. Last time I got high, I passed out and forgot what happened. That was a bunch of edibles. I never smoked, but I did accidentally eat way too much edibles that I didn't know it was edibles. That's probably why you had such a bad time, honestly, Matt. Because if you never smoked, then you really don't know how you're going to react to weed by itself. Like, honestly, the biggest thing in a case like yours, Matt, don't stop believing. Hold on to that feeling. Shadows, people passing down the boulevard, and shadows making in the night. Don't stop. Okay, sorry, I'm done. What? Okay. DFF. DFF. Okay, I'm so excited. That song isn't about fucking. You dirty-minded bastard. I didn't see your answer if you gave me one, Riley. Shall you be attending the Prattle in Seattle? Will you get beat up at the meetup? This is the clear and present question on everyone's minds. The people deserve to know. God damn it, cat. Anyway, it is my understanding that we just timed out, but hopefully I have fixed the issue, and hopefully we're back. I did see Riley's answer before I timed out, or as I was timing out, or whatever. Very tempted, but cash flow's been pretty low. I understand if you're not able to make it, for sure. I totally get that. It's probably going to be pretty hard for me to fucking swing making it. I'm just hoping that, you know, having this early notice that I've already got the ticket, because very luckily, Con Roca paid for my ticket. Kenny Fox, you know, good old DFF fan of mine and everything, paid for my VIP ticket not long after they went on sale. And so I've got the ticket secured. So that's like $165, like $185, something like that, expense. Like a $200 expense, basically, that's off the worry for me. I don't have to worry about it. It's no longer a big deal. But I'm still going to have to figure out transportation, lodging, and all that. Now, lodging might be as simple as just staying with Ignar. I don't know. I guess that just depends on what transportation looks like. Because if I do a road trip with Glitch Dash up to the meetup, then Glitch might want to stay in a hotel that's, like, if not in Seattle, then in one of the outlying towns. In the movie, you could busk for gas money, etc., The Vision. That's a bad idea, Matt, and I'll tell you why. Like, maybe it would be something I could do once or twice, but the reason why that's a bad idea is because, like, unless I end up going through one of my old haunts or somewhere that I know I can make a lot of money, you just never know. And when you're driving through the interstate, like most interstates are not, like, okay, so every interstate goes through big cities and small cities that are not that hard to get to the town from the interstate, but, like, most of the towns along an interstate aren't like that. Most towns along an interstate are barely fucking towns at all. It's like 4 gas stations clustered around the 4 ramps, like 4 to 6 gas stations, and then there'll be like a little road. If you drive the access road, basically, you drive down a little ways and you'll find, oh, this is the rest of the town, and it's like 17 barely holding on businesses and 1,700 barely holding on people that are only still there because there's a good factory job in a town an hour away, and there are reasonably okay jobs in town and in the little interstate junction and shit. And just broken little dead towns like that they're not, like, people are struggling so hard there that they typically don't have a lot of money to be handing out to random people. And sometimes you get lucky and you pass through an area, but I don't know, maybe, I'm not ruling it out, I'm just saying it would require quite a bit of logistics research in, like, beforehand or as I was doing it, and so I also don't know if it would be productive, you know, unless, like I said, I went through one of my old haunts or got lucky. But also, like, sometimes busking is fucked up, because sometimes you'll busk for an hour and not think you're making anything, and then in the last 30 minutes, as you're getting more and more disgusted, you end up finally making enough to make it all worth it. But then that's like 2 hours pretty much that I've spent, and it might even be longer if after busking I'm like, okay, I really need to eat and, like, take a piss, you know, like, that might add another 30 minutes to an hour, having to eat and use the bathroom and maybe get myself cleaned up a little bit. And so by the time it's all said and done, I might have added 3 or 4 hours onto the total runtime of the trip. So I just don't know if it would make much sense. The world's busiest gas station happens to be in my city. It's a 7-Eleven too. Oh, that's crazy. That's wild. I brought a pal to Jersey meetup and they had an awful time, and that. Why is my fucking connection slowing down again? I wish I knew why the fucking connection was so goddamn unstable. Makes no fucking sense. I did see Riley said something about they brought a pal to the New Jersey meetup and they had a really bad time and that soured their night. That's awful. I'm so sorry. I hope I was cool to them if we met. I don't know if you introduced us or anything. Because my memories of that night are kind of a haze. But I remember having a good time. And I remember meeting quite a few cool people. And I do remember a lot of it. I just don't. It's hard to piece the memories together and know which belongs to which, you know? But yeah, I hope it was just like something like nobody could control, really. I hope it was nothing like. I hope somebody wasn't like super shitty to them or something. Phoebe, would it be weird if I had a dream of you and me being platonic best friends growing old in a beat up bus deep in the woods? I think that would be at least a little parasocial. Because we don't actually know each other in real life, but, you know. Maybe it would not be weird. Like if we met and there was like some kind of like chemistry. But at the same time, I've always thought it would be strange to have like. I've always thought it would be strange to have like a roommate that wasn't a partner, like as I get older. But maybe that's not gonna be as weird as it gets harder and harder for people to afford land and shit. I don't know. I don't know, it's something that I would want. But hey, maybe you can have a different little bus somewhere in, you know, my eventual retirement commune. It's true, but dreams are weird. That's true. Very true. Oh, you had a weird dream. No, I don't think that's weird. I just think that. This probably means that in your mind you think that we're like, and I guess you're right. I would say that we're pretty close friends, you know? I would put you like I wouldn't say you're on like the same level as Taylor because I've known her for so much longer and we've done so much together and been through so much together. But I would say in terms of like how comfortable I feel talking to you about what's going on in my life or what's happening or whatever, I would say that you're up there with TJ at the very least, you know. I'm completely comfortable talking with either of y'all about what's going on in my life, and I don't feel the need to self-censor around you, which is, you know, right up there. And it's probably just your brain, like, reading into that and formulating scenarios on the basis of, like, sheer possibility, not necessarily probability. Oh no, I know we don't truly know each other's lives. We talk a lot. Yeah, no, for sure. And I you know, we don't truly know each other's lives, but I feel like we do know more about each other than, you know, I would say about any other random person in chat probably. Maybe there's somebody out there that like knows me a lot, Yeah, I'm talking like besides one of the obvious ones, like if Colin came back in here, or obviously Taylor, who hangs out in here a lot. But yeah, I would say you, Riley, TJ, you guys are all like friends of mine that I consider like conversationally worthy and interesting people, even if I don't have a ton of history with y'all. Have you ever had a dream of us having a conversation or something, or of the chat? I don't think so, but I'll be honest with you, it is very rare for me to dream anymore. But honestly, and this is going to sound bad maybe, but my lesbian ass usually just dreams of other girls and other women, Like, that's usually where my headspace is at in a dream, if I remember it. It's not always sexual or flirtatious either. Sometimes it's just like we're fighting crime in an adventure dystopia or something. I used to have dreams of working, and that's one of the reasons why I'm glad I don't dream of this or the chat or anything like that. That would indicate that I really was overworking myself. But I used to literally have dreams of doing the shit that I would do for a job in my sleep, and I hated that. Oh my god, that was my least favorite thing about being a wagey. Like working at a factory where like all of your movements become pre-programmed to a certain point, you can literally get, as you're falling to sleep, you can start having one of these dreams, and you catch yourself sometimes. I have the reoccurring dream where I have to fast pack everything and move to a country where I don't speak the language or know anyone. I think it's because I'm scared the government will come for leftists. Yeah, I would say that that's your subconscious trying to warn you, like, hey, your country is targeting you. And I think in this case it might actually be a legitimate and valid warning, but, how is one to actually act on it is the thing. Like, what are you supposed to do? But yeah, Riley, I hope that your pal was, I hope that I was cool to them if we got to meet. I'm not sure if we did or not. And, if not, then I apologize. Is it bad that I hope it was down to something nobody could control? Sneaky Poo S, super chat for you. LOL, much love. Aw, thank you, thank you, Ignore. I appreciate that a ton. Yes. And I look forward to hanging with you at the Seattle meetup, which you are coming to, regardless of whether or not Rush is doing their concert at the same time or not. You're doing it. You might just have to have a very entertainment-filled weekend, Ignore. I answered you, by the way, Phoebe's last chat or so. Okay, let me look at that. Well, shit, if I look at it on fucking... I can't do that. I can't... Fuck. Damn it. Can somebody repeat Riley's chat? Because if I try to look it up on my fucking phone, it's gonna kill the... It's gonna, like, kill the signal. If I try to look at it on my phone. And Prism only shows me the chats that have happened since then. Oh, okay, here, let me see. LOL, when you were outside smoking with TJ and Paul, he blew up on me and everyone was staring. I think we unfortunately looked like a couple breaking up. Awkward. When I was outside smoking with TJ and Paul, he blew up on me? What? What? Why though? Is it weird as a man my dreams are never really sexual? I mean, I have sexual fantasies, but I don't really dream of them. No, it's not weird. Everybody's different. Some people would say it's weird that I, as a trans woman, dream of other women, but to those people I would say, go fuck yourself. I daydream a lot. I think I daydream a lot. I'm not sure if what I do is really qualifiable as daydreaming, but I think I do that. I have little stories in my head. Me too. The hallmark of any creative. We've all got a little million stories in our head. A million little stories in our head, and we're all looking for an opportunity to bring them forward into the light where they can be examined by others. But yeah, Riley, to cap off this before I go, I hope you do have a better time next time you go. I really do hope to see you at Seattle in December. Because I feel like it would be cool to hang out with a few of the people that were at New Jersey and maybe start a chain of meetups with some of the same attendees. And we can start taking group pictures and shit. Maybe eventually I'll have us some fucked up little t-shirts made or something. I just think it'd be cool. Reasons. One, I think, being that he thought the show was super lame. He did happen to know who the Amazing Atheist was, but he was never a fan. I tried hard to sell it beforehand to him because he's trans left. Oh, shit. Damn. Damn, that sucks. Yeah, I guess you really just can't sell it to some people. You're either down for it or you're not. Definitely something I'm going to have to consider when I'm, shilling to my fans. I want people to start doing tarot. That'd be fun if we had seance nights in the dark with spooky light. Donations equals readings. I've thought about starting to do that, honestly. Getting me a decent tarot deck. Starting to use the spirit board, maybe. I'd have to set up an alternative way to film. Yeah, dog, the only pics I have, I asked him to take them. Me posing with Scotty, giving Paul and all the other guys gifts. All the pics were intentionally blurry on HD iPhone. Damn, that's like a friendship ruining night. I don't know if I could deal with that. I don't know how I would deal with that, dude. Man, that's so fucked up. I'm so dude. God, that sucks. Man, I really hope you come to Seattle now. Cause I gotta rizz you up. You gotta have a better time. I would buy Phoebe reading. See? Market's out there. Damn, some people can't just have a good time. I know, right? But with the death of the cigarette comes the death of the stream, so if you guys have any last closing comments, get them in before it's done. I'm mad for fucking Riley, too. That's some lame-ass shit. I don't get how a motherfucker could have a bad time at a DFF meetup. I flatly don't get it. To me, it's a vibes thing. Like, I'm not really into the kind of music that the God Bombs make, but I still liked the show because the vibes were so good. Stay with us, don't leave. I have adult responsibilities, Matt, and they don't go away for 24 more hours. Some people are just dead set on having a bad time no matter what. Yep. True. And with that, peace the fuck out. I appreciate you guys watching, donating, and everything else. I will see y'all later.